Hey, everybody, it's Corey Poirier. Haven't been on, we'll call it StreamYard. Most people are like, what's StreamYard? Probably. But I haven't been on live on these platforms like Facebook and LinkedIn and what have you in quite a while. So A, apologize. B, sorry, not sorry. No, but B, I've been super busy and I plan to get back on these soon because I know how important it is to be letting people know what's up and trying to offer insight in a challenging world and all those kind of things. We've been on a break from the Blue Talks virtual event. I haven't been, other than the one Shelly and I did recently, the Army of Love one, I haven't even done a Blue Talks virtual event in probably almost a year now because I've had co-hosts that have taken over. But we've been hopping because COVID has allowed us to start traveling again. So we've been doing live events and that's keeping us busy. And in fact, I'm excited to do this today because I haven't had a chance to do it in a while. And we're actually doing this interview in a second, just before we leave for another week-long trip for a live event for Blue Talk. So I'm super stoked to be able to get on here on a Friday afternoon, one of my favorite people in the world, and to get her to tell us a little bit about what she's working on. So let me introduce her first, and then we will dive right in. So Emily Harrison, who I've known for quite some time now, is the founder of the Akashic Academy. I will say the Akashic, that word is a word I couldn't even say properly before I met Emily. Now I can even say it somewhat properly.
Yeah, you still need a little bit of help, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's still off a bit?
Just a tiny bit.
Okay. That's okay. Akashic?
It's fun to hear you move through it. That's pretty good. Akashic. Really emphasize that. Because there's transmission in that word, that part of the word, the sound.
And you know what? I probably said it right sometimes, but I'm closer. Before I couldn't even bring together a word. Like it was like, I don't even know what, I can't even repeat. I can't even go back to what I was saying because it was so foreign. So, but Emily is the founder of this academy and also the magazine, which I'll ask her shortly if it's still operating and rocking. I'm not sure, but she featured Blue Talks when we were in Boston on site at Harvard in the magazine, which by the way is a good segue to say she's also a Blue Talk speaker. She's made her Ivy League debut at the Harvard University talk that I just mentioned. And she's gone on to secure high-profile interviews with Cryan's Circle of 12 and Gaia TV. I want to ask her about that. I actually want her to connect me to Gaia if she has an in for me, but we'll talk about that later as well. She was named one of 2021's Businesswomen of the Year by Entrepreneur Magazine because she's such an innovative business leader. And her goal and what she helps people do is around expanding consciousness and human potential. But I want to, and I'm excited because she's going to be talking about success. She's going to be talking about we're going to talk about what the number one characteristic people need to cultivate is. So I want to talk to her about all that, but also I wanted to share with you guys one last thing before I kind of welcome this amazing lady onto the virtual stage. When I first met her, and she's, given me, I think, carte blanche to share this story, but when I first met her, she was just at the stage that there was a struggle going on, and she was just at the stage of going in for food stamps. And I mean, I talked to her at that time, and I know, it's a tough situation to be in. And I knew I saw this amazingness in her, and I saw so much potential of where she was going to go. And by the way, she had already tapped a lot of that potential, been in Hollywood, been an actress, almost got one of the roles in a big Marvel movie that we just talked about. And finally, she was able to go in those 5 years. It's actually been more than 5 years, probably now a little more, but in those 5 years, she was able to go from food stamps to having $500,000 in revenue recently. And I want to add, as a person in the healing business, because we don't hear that often enough. So Emily Harrison, that was an added intro, but please, join me on the stage. Welcome to the stage. Emily, comment on any of those things from your bio that you want to, and let's dive right in.
Yeah, well, at first I just have to thank you for that incredible introduction. And it not only the great introduction, but also sharing some of the backstory and the connection and the history that we have. And for letting me come on and hang out with you when you are so busy and you are saving the world and creating these opportunities for influencers like me to speak on stage at Harvard. And there's a human behind this movement that has to pack and has to get all of the pieces ready, and as a father and a husband. And so that I'm really grateful that you created some space for me to come on and to share with your community today, because I just love you so much. I love Shelly. I love your mission. I feel like what you have created, both in the early stages when we worked together, when I was in a state of struggle and wanting to step up my impact and wanting to dive into just your training programs around how to become a public speaker and how to get paid for this and have more influence and impact. But you and I really became friends through that process, and I got to know you and your family more, and we've been able to support each other through, it's like we're coming up through the ranks of influencership, right? And the opportunity that you created here in Blue Talks, your mission, personally for me, impacted my career so much. You shared the other really potent and powerful speaking opportunities that I've had since being at Harvard. And yes, doing this in the quantum field, in a field of spirituality and healing and human potential, is something that I'm really proud of, and you've been a big part of it. So I love you. I love your audience. I know that you're getting ready to go on this next big adventure. And so I really want to show up and share some incredible value for everybody out there today. Like you said, I am up to something. I do have a little opportunity that I'm going to share. It's not a little opportunity. It's crazy off the hook opportunity. And I also want to be honest with you. It's not going to be right for everyone here, because like Corey said, you know, I've gone from being on food stamps to creating $500,000 of revenue in a very short amount of time. And like on the slim fast results, the not typical results, there's a certain journey that comes along with accelerated results. And I'm sure that you can attest to that as we step into these really radical aspects of our soul mission, our soul calling, right? I also want to say your desire for rapid results is not related to your consciousness, by the way. It does not mean that you are more or less conscious than anybody else if this is something that you're desiring. But for some of us, it's what our soul needs, because it's freaking go time when it comes to making impact. And that's something that we all have in common, and is why I wanted to share this with your audience today, because I know how many speakers are you taking to Harvard with you?
So this has been pretty trippy. And I want to, no matter what, make sure I come back to this idea of healers and earning revenue. I want to talk about that at least once before we jet today. But Harvard, I think we're at 32. What's really intriguing is we didn't know, maybe 6 weeks ago, I think we didn't know we were even going. Like, it's been normally, like, you know, the one that you were at, we knew quite a bit before. I don't know if it was that much more because we were launching, but normally for our events, we know like a year almost. What happened with Harvard is because of COVID, they weren't running events. And then when they decided to run again, we were still kind of there. We still had a spot there that we could use. And basically we started talking, and they're like, oh, we'd love for you to do it very soon. Long story short, I think it was at some point in May, like late May. And we talked and said, is there any way we can do it before the end of July? So what's really wild about this, Emily, is we probably had 5 people that were sort of locked in, because people that were on the space before had moved to other events. So we probably had 5 people then. And in like less than 2 months, we're going with 32 people at Harvard.
So the nature of this event is accelerated results. It sounds like the opportunity came up, a bold decision was required, and it's go time. Yes.
Pretty much. You pretty much summed it up. And
I like to operate that way.
Yeah, I do as well. And so let me ask this one other question, because then we can dive right into the meat of what you have going on and all that kind of great stuff. But I want to talk to you for 1 second about this idea, because did you struggle with this? And what do you tell speakers that struggle with this idea, the ones that are healers and ones that are in that healing space, that it's bad for healers to earn revenue? Because I don't know if you've seen this. But I see this all the time. Like, I talk to healers all the time, and either A, they don't realize they're struggling with it, or B, they're like, well, I just don't think I should be. I don't think I'm supposed to be earning this kind of revenue, or whatever that looks like. And so there seems to be a struggle with healers actually charging their worth. That's the short version of it.
Yep, I would love to sum this one up right up for you all and just give you a different perspective to try on, because I understand the nature of that context in that story. However, what I want to invite everyone to see is that we're looking at it through the wrong lenses. Okay, we've got to interpret in modern day society, and in modern day society, there is a value structure. Right now, our planet is shifting from valuing materialism into valuing experience and intelligence. Those of us who have knowledge and wisdom from the quantum field in the realm of human potential, inviting people to wake up and to take their freedom back. This is the most important knowledge, intelligence, and experience on the planet. And if we don't charge a high price for it, I'm just going to talk real 3D language here for you all, because charging a high price does this. For someone to receive your medicine, your genius, they must give up something of importance, of value. And in this modern day society, that is money, currency, and resource. Yes, it's going to change into something else, but these fundamentals are still the same. These energetic fundamentals are the same. Those people who feel like they want to just leave commerce behind and just trade everything, because no, if you're not in command of your abundance, you're going to drag that issue with you into this new trade system, and you're going to be over trading and over giving your skills and not receiving back. So it's about this new shift of paradigm. And in order for people to receive value, they must give up something of value. This is a placeholder. Those of us who are here to shift human potential, if we don't require society to place a high value on this, the scales will never be tipped in terms of understanding how important this is. We're playing a bigger role in tipping the scales of the awareness that consciousness is our only way out of the shit that we've created for ourselves.
Wow. I love so much of what you just said there. You know, one of the things that I've gotten, I'll call it better at, is even just like, I'll give you an example, a real world example is there's this person that's been connecting me to a lot of people out of the goodness of his heart. And I've never have expectations on that, but he's been so generous with it. And yesterday I was on a networking event that he kind of runs it, but he also has an academy that he runs. And admittedly, because I'm always about full disclosure, the investment in his academy is not that big, but they said last night, you can be here for free. And then, or you can go with the academy and you get these extra bonuses. Well, Emily, like my first thing I did at the end of that call was get out my credit card and sign up for his membership, even though they said you can get some of the stuff for free, even though I didn't have to do it. To me, it's like all the stuff he's already done for me, I should be energy exchanging that with him. Like I should be through the universe thanking him.
Well, you know what the crazy thing is when we operate differently in terms of where we think we have to place our value and our money. Because right now, one of the reasons that most people don't hire coaches or don't dive into programs like this or don't hire locally in support of genius, and that's sort of what we're doing with coaching and with mentorship and with inspiration with each other online, right? There's this network in this community. The biggest reason we don't do that is because we're going to work to pay to keep the lights on. And we're paying for this. And guess what, people? Energy is free. And when we stop paying for energy to keep the lights on, we tap into this different aspect of resource and abundance, then the money and the commerce is circulated amongst each other and our genius in a completely different way. These are like new fundamentals, or they're actually very old fundamentals of society. There have been templates of civilizations running this way on our planet. And that's what we're being invited to remember through things like past life work and shifting our consciousness outside of this time-space continuum so that we can get this intelligence that we have based on our current collective experience.
I love that, because I've said this to you before. I came into this whole spiritual world, let's call it that, as a spiritual skeptic. And I think I've shared this with you. I came in kicking and screaming. My mother brought me to tea leaf readings and aura readings and all this kind of stuff when I was a kid, like really young. And I just thought, like, what's going on in my life? Like, what is this? And it wasn't until I had a person that almost 20 that she brought me to that kind of told me, I'll say it this way. I didn't even believe him until it was the one where it was very specific stuff. It wasn't like,
it was Shelley though, right? You had one that
was the second. That was another one. This actually, that would have been the third, but there was 3 in total. But the first one was this guy that was like in his 60s. And I'll just say this one thing. He said, your girlfriend is cheating on you with your best friend. And my girlfriend at the time was in the room when he said it. And he didn't know she was my girlfriend. She lost it. Anyway, I'll make a long story short. I found out later that my best friend and her had been sleeping together. But it was like, there were so many things that he said. And it wasn't like you're going to meet somebody with the letter J. Like, it was like very specific. And that kind of got me sort of pulled in. But the interesting part is now I would argue that a big percentage of my business, like meaning the results and all that stuff, is because I bought in, meaning like I believe in synchronicity. I write them down so then I see more of them. I'll tell you an active thing I did. Arigato. Did you hear about this? Did I tell you about that? Or did you hear from our friend Ken Honda?
Well, arigato, thank you. And thank you, money, and happy money. I know that.
Okay, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. So Ken Honda talks about happy money, and when one of his things he said, like, and it seems like such a small thing, but it's an active thing, is he says arigato, meaning thank you, to his money that's going out and coming in. Now, key thing, people listening here, going out. He's actually, with his heart, grateful that he has money to pay stuff, but he's thankful for the money leaving him, and he said with all of his heart. Anyway, Shelly will confirm this. I started practicing this after we met Ken and I did an interview. It's the only one thing out of all the amazing things he said. And I read the book. I have Happy Money over here somewhere. Only one thing I practiced. I do it about 25% of the time. And here's real world results, Emily. Nothing has changed since last year and this year. And I've never shared, or I haven't shared this yet. Last year, we had a pretty close to record year in sales. This year, revenue wise, this year, we're at that same number now halfway through the year. So we've doubled.
Yeah.
But the only thing we did different is said arigato.
Arigato.
So people could say, well, coincidence, but who cares? It's obviously clearly working. Right. But my point is, now that I've dialed into the stuff, like I write down synchronicities, well, guess what? People will say to me, you can't interview so-and-so. You'll never reach so-and-so. I'm not going to name names, but I told you privately, actually. You saw it in my messenger, the person I said we had.
I was going to mouth it, but then I said, I won't mouth it. I won't say it.
Well,
but
don't jinx it, because it happens in 2 weeks. After it happens, I'll put a picture up immediately. But my point is, people told me for years I couldn't interview that person. And by the way, I've been trying this. I haven't given up on it for years, and it's happening 2 weeks. But my point is, if I look at all the things that happen with synchronicity that I've said yes to and been flexible with, they had to happen for this to happen. So what I'm getting at is all the spiritual stuff. I might be very practical about it, but I'm using it and leveraging it in my business to create abundance for me and everybody that I hopefully connect with, and create opportunities for those I connect with. So that's enough about me. I just want to share that I love what you're doing because I believe in it. I'm totally bought in now.
Well, and I think you're a great example. I mean, this is the point, and I will now, with no further ado, reveal the number one thing that sets radically successful visionaries apart, and that is, Corey, you know how to manage your subtle energy. You have used these tools, these quantum tools, to gain control of your thoughts and your emotions. And that is what your subtle energy is. It's our thoughts and our emotions. And when we are not in control of our thoughts and emotions, you're not going to be able to have this powerful confidence and clarity and creativity, their forces and courage that Corey is talking. And now 5 that Corey is talking about. It takes all of those things. When we truly learn to manage our own internal energy, those things are available. The creativity, confidence, clarity, and courage. It's all available to us. But when we do not have control of our subtle energy, what begins to happen? Which again, it's our thoughts and our emotions. It affects speakers tremendously. You get incredible nerves when you're going on stage. Right? That's really one of the big things that triggered me to really want to do more work on my subtle energy body and to cultivate consciousness and control of my field. Was I was so nervous in acting auditions. I was so much better in my head than I was in the moment. And there was a gap there, right? Because I didn't have that command over my thoughts and over my reality. What else happens to you if you don't have command over your subtle energy? Writer's block. You don't have the clarity on what your topic or your message is. You don't have that creativity flowing in where you feel really excited about what you're doing. When you have creativity and clarity and like this connection to your soul mission, when it's clear, all of these things begin erupting out of you. The other big problem I find that people experience when you don't have control of your own subtle energy is it's it gets overwhelming, and so you do nothing. Or you stop your progress. You get your feet in the wet a little bit. Maybe you get on stage once, and there's always a learning curve. There's always opportunity to up level. But if you don't have control over your thoughts and the environment around you that's supporting you and your emotions, you're toast, guys. You're toast when it comes to standing in this timeline where you feel you are in alignment with your soul mission and that you are being fully illuminated, that you are in full expression of your creativity.
So let me ask you this then, because that begs the big question. And I want to say, when we talk about this, one of the things I'll give people a tip, Emily, when it comes to speaking, people always ask me, what's the thing you're thinking about before you open your mouth when you're doing a talk? Because I'm terrified. People say I'm terrified. I'm thinking about the audience. I'm thinking about, oh my God, trying to picture them naked, all this other stuff. For me, what I do is I remind myself, so I do this internally, remind myself of a time somebody said I changed their life. And the reason I do that is because it reminds me, I'm not doing this for me on the stage. Yeah. And if I can get in my head of maybe I'll get one other person in this audience who's live, maybe I can make better somehow, then it becomes about them versus me. So that, I guess you could say that I'm getting control of my thoughts and emotions because of what I'm doing as that last practice before I open my mouth. But here's my question out of this is, what did Emily Harrison do? I mean, you were struggling, as we said, going in to get food stamps. How did you control your thoughts and emotions to get to where you are now? Because the question somebody probably has is, that sounds great. I want to have great subtle energy, but how do I control these emotions that I have whenever I'm like, am I going to be able to afford to pay this month?
Right. Well, this is where embodiment comes in for me. And this is where my unique medicine of mixing the understanding of astrology, because there is an energy signature that happens when there is certain alignment here in our galaxy. And so I began working with these greater forces, right? I began looking for strategic alignments and opportunities when I could get out of the environment that I was in that was replicating this feedback loop with the universe. And I literally went camping on Mount Shasta. And the reason I went to Mount Shasta, there was a call it was a soul calling to go into this particular vortex location on the planet where the piezoelectric energy is so high that we can reach very high states of consciousness very quickly, right? And I began to ask about my mission. What does it look like? What are the next steps that I need? And I didn't see anything. And I'm like, okay, ask another question. So the question I asked was, can I have support in seeing what is unseen? And at that point in time, a whole vision began to come forward of energetic ley lines from the mountain opening up and pulsating this incredible energy from the root chakra of the planet to different physical locations on the surface of the planet. Which is the opportunity that I want to invite your audience into. This August, we have the next major galactic gateway known as Lion's Gate. This is when the Earth aligns with Sirius, the constellation Sirius, and the flow of energy that comes in to support the awareness and the clarity around your soul mission is magnified. I think they've even put a number on it, like 33%, which is pretty cool. Anytime we have eclipses or these astrological gateways, our ability to connect and manifest and create increases pretty dramatically. So under this next Lion's Gate, we are opening up the virtual experience for you all to join me broadcasting live from Mount Shasta. And there are going to be 3 particular gateways or different aspects to this event. The first aspect, which will happen on the 8th, this is going to happen the 8th, 9th, and 10th. It will be recorded, and we will send the replay out right away, but I definitely recommend joining us live if you can. Bill Holman and the Mitchell Hedges Crystal Skull will also be joining us live. So day 1 is all about clearing the resistance. This is what's going to get these thoughts, truly our negative thoughts, our negative self-talk, our traumas. These are like energetic entities that get attached to us and prevent us from being naturally in the flow of the universe which the nature of that energy is to expand. So in order to be connected to who we naturally are, we've got to get these resistances out of the way. So day one will remove those resistances. Day two is all about downloading clarity around your soul mission. I love doing this with people because being clear on what it is that you're here to do and feeling excited about it creates this fire, this momentum, this motivation within you that I find as soon as people have that clarity, that's the click they need to move forward once the resistance is out of the way. And then stage three is we are going to enliven this energy. We are going to intend it into the grids of Mother Earth. So into the ley lines, which are known as the crystalline grids of Mother Earth. These are the grids that are inside planet, inside the crust of Mother Earth and run all the way down into her core. And then we're also going to tap this energy and connect this energy, illuminate it through the Christed consciousness grids. These are the grids that surround our planet so that you have this pulsating communication, this feedback loop that you have created here in the here and now to stand fully in your mission. How many of this is sounding exciting, by the way. I just realized I flipped over to comments. I'm like, oh, I've been missing your comments, everybody. So if this is sounding exciting to you, type Shasta in the comments because I want to circle back with you all and share more with you about this experience. There are crazy, amazing gifts and bonuses that we're giving with this too. We've got the beginner's training in how to read your Akashic records. So for those of you who, I haven't talked a whole lot about the Akashic records, but the Akashic records is the quantum field of intelligence recorded from God perspective. So this is universal mind that you get to learn to tap into and download wisdom, guidance, clarity, healing for your life. You begin to have a dialogue. I teach you how to have a dialogue with this realm of intelligence. So that training is included, along with something so cool that my team just created. It's a worksheet that will show you how to open a vortex in your own home. And so you can keep this up on your bulletin board, keep it on your desk. Anytime that you feel like you want to open up access to higher intelligence, there is a systematic way that you can show up and do it, and you can begin to consecrate that space so that there's always this flow of intelligence. And I'm so excited because no one else on the planet is innovating and opening up these channels of energy from the chakra points in the same way. And it's been hands down the thing that's helped me embody and quintuple my business in a very short period of time. And I want to share that legacy with those out there who have this soul calling to change the planet.
So Emily, let me ask you then, if people want to reach out, first of all, they can put Shasta in the comments. And that, of course, applies to, as we know with these videos, we get a big number of people live, but we also get probably a big or bigger number replay. So if you're watching the replay, we still love you just as much, and definitely put Shasta in the comments. What I'm also going to do, and you and I can talk about this offline, but I'll also send out an email to my newsletter, if you want to call it that, or my 20,000+, which I'm grateful for.
You get 20,000+?
Yeah.
God, that's amazing.
Well, and
that's awesome. I'm really proud of you, friend. That's not easy to do.
Thank you, but it's a constant reminder that I've dropped the ball in the last year, because like in the last year it's been like a fraction, like nothing, hardly at all. Like I've been really dropping the ball. So it reminds me I got to jump back in, and because like, and some people might think this whole thing about numbers. For me, when I say a number like that, it's all that it truly is about to me is that means I get to serve more people. Yeah. Period. It's not about, oh, look at my number versus somebody else. It's just I get to serve more people. So having said that, I'm bringing this up because you'll be in good company if you're listening now, because like I said, I'm going to make sure I get it out to my network heavily. I know Emily's getting it around to her network. It's next month. So it's something people have to act on pretty quickly, I would say, too.
Yes, for two reasons. The first reason is the seating is limited because it's virtual, and we are going to be projecting a lot of quantum energy through the space. I want to really protect our bandwidth. So seating is limited for this experience. Okay. I also want to share that the cost of the program, hang on, let me take two on that good entrepreneurship. The investment for the program is $555 US. We do have payment options for that. And that price is only good until the end of this month. August 1st, it's going to go up to $777. So you definitely want to act fast to reserve your spot first and foremost. If we still have spots available in the next week and a half, is that even how much time we have left, or a week of July, the price point and the investment is going to go up to $777. So you want to, if this is for you, you want to go ahead and act right away.
So the other thing is, I know you mentioned it in passing, but I want to make sure people fully grasp that. First of all, it's virtual, but you guys are going to be there live. Now, when I say that, like you and Bill are going to be there live, I'm just curious about this. Is there other people there live that you're doing a session for as well that we're watching, or is it like, I'm just curious how that's set up, the structure.
Okay. So no, if you come to the virtual event, you will be treated to the awesomeness that we have for you. However, you will not experience what is happening in person. And there is a team of visionaries that I'm taking into this experience that will go onto the mountain into the secret vortex locations physically on the mountain and do activation. Then I like to make field trips on my training excursions. So that's one day we spend hiking in the vortexes on the mountain. Another excursion that I will be taking the private tour on is to meet one of my great teachers. His name is Omaran, and he and his wife have property on Mount Shasta where they have downloaded and rebuilt technology from the time of Atlantis. And this technology is designed to shift our consciousness and activate us into the higher realm so that, we have more access to that wisdom. The particular structures that I take my people on in there, there's a secret pyramid. They built on their property, Corey, an exact replica, scaled replica of the Great Pyramid of Giza facing the mountain, all in alignment in the grid points on the planet. It's nuts. So there's a secret activation that happens within the pyramid. And then there's also a device known as the Christed Consciousness device. It's a giant copper dodecahedron with crystalline points. And the person sits inside of this machine, again, facing the mountain, and receives the activation. So it is some of the most magical quantum experiences and ways to activate I think the planet has had since ancient Egypt and Heliopolis and the great mystery schools, right? And then I also am bringing in a specialist to do something called, scrying, where you're using, so the phone, my phone's going to go light when I pick it up, but when the phone is dark face, or when you have an obsidian or like a black crystal with a mirrored surface, there are ways that you can use this to peer into other dimensions and call forward connection with the ancestors and with the ascended masters. So since we are in the ascended master gateway of the planet, which is Mount Shasta, it's known as an interdimensional gateway for the ascended masters. And I mean, there have been UFO sightings and Bigfoot sightings and all kinds of visceral experiences that people have there with the ascended masters and with beings inside of the mountain. So we actually call forward that experience in my events, and we call forward the extraterrestrials and tap in. So those things I cannot bring through virtually quite yet, but we do have one space left if there is anybody out there who is interested in that experience, by the way.
And let me ask you one last part to that question as we both well, I get like 6 minutes before I have to be on talking with somebody. But when you mentioned that, the virtual part, I'm just curious again, I'm just trying to pull this out for that person that's trying to visualize the event. Those things that you mentioned, are those filmed for people to watch later or live, or is that part, like, will it be off and on? Like, it'll be certain times?
The excursions that I told you about, no, these are not filmed. They are, it's a very
Because it's personal for that
ceremony and ritual kind of experience. It's initiation into the higher realms. So that is not something that we are going to share. I mean, there'll be behind the scenes stuff, of course, but it's not something that we're going to broadcast. That is reserved for in-person transformation only.
So here's the thing, though. The reason I asked that and was trying to go in that direction is because this is your opportunity to, if you're not that last person, which if you're that last person, we've been speaking to you. But if you're not that last person, this is your opportunity to virtually check in and tune into all this stuff that you can, the parts you can see. But also, this is your chance to up level so that the next time around, you can experience the live in-person excursions.
Yes, 100%. And, you know, there's not everybody can take this time out of their life right now. It's not the right timing for everyone to show up virtually. I'm sorry, for everyone to show up in person. It's that the mountain will call you in person when it's time. And the mountain is calling and wanting to share this energy and this potentiality for those who can't, like you said, unplug yet and go on this deeper pilgrimage of an experience. The mountain is wanting to illuminate these possibilities for everybody who is ready to receive them. So I am just really excited that we, like you said, we get to open this up to more people and to create more impact through the virtual experience where we will link you to the portals of Mount Shasta.
Brilliant. So Emily, the best way for them to do it, whether if they type Shasta in the comments or reach out to you, I assume, directly?
100%, yes. Type in Shasta in the comments. Feel free to reach out to me personally. I am going to circle back here with my team, and we're going to make sure that we take care and talk to all of you individually, make sure that this is the right experience for you. Because accelerated results, it's one way to go in life, and I want to make sure that people are really prepared for this. So we'll have an opportunity to connect with each of you personally.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, what I'm going to do, I just thought about it too. I'm going to, whenever I send the email out, I'm going to direct people to come and watch this as well, so they get a really good feel for this. So, excuse me. So definitely have your team watch the comments, because that'll probably go out over the weekend, that message. So, you know, I'll get people to comment just so they know you're watching anyway. Either way, well, you know, whether it's right for them or not now, I'll get them to comment, Emily, so you know who's commenting and who's been checking it out and watching it. Because again, it could be somebody that maybe it's not right, like you said, for them right now. Then there's people it's going to be right for them right now, and then there's going to be somebody who it's going to be right for them to go on the live tour next time. So let's help people wherever they're at, whatever that spot is. So
we're here for you guys, and thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Corey, for letting me come.
Always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you, Emily. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Until next time, I'll keep you guys all in the loop when I can, and I'll be back on here live very soon. So thank you again, Emily. Thanks for coordinating through the universe and let me know what colors we were supposed to wear today.
Yes.
I'm glad we made it work. I get to see red's one of my favorite colors. So thanks for making that happen.
My pleasure. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Until next time. Happy Friday. Happy weekend.